Wearable Today is brought to you by our friends over at CashFly. Hey everybody, Jeffrey Powers here, and welcome to another episode of Wearable Today, episode number 82, Time Zone Not Working. My name is Jeffrey Powers. We've got a great show. We've got Luke Wallace. We've got Birdie. We're going to be talking about how dedicated would you be in your job to have an RFID chip installed in your body. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what happened in the last couple of weeks. We've got wearables galore that we're going to talk about, heart rate monitors and USB battery chargers and blah, 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 blah. We've got it all. So let's get it started over at Wearable Today, episode 82. Hey everybody, Jeffrey Powers here from Geekazine, Think Magazine, Put in a Geek, and you got the beautiful thing called wearabletoday.com. And we've got another Monday night. We're recording. We're not doing the live thing anymore on Monday nights for Tuesday. We're just going to put it up on Tuesday. We're going to make it nice and cool for you guys to watch, so you don't have to worry about, waiting or being on the live show or anything like that. We're going to do that for a little while till maybe we'll bring in the live aspect down the road. But for now, we've got this going because we can do a whole bunch of cool other stuff. And speaking of cool other stuff, my co-host, Mr. Luke Wallace. How you doing, Luke?
Hey, everybody. Doing good tonight. You can find me on Twitter at Luke Luca. That's LukeLuca. Or you can find me on Google Plus at google.com/plus Luke Wallace. Also, I got Birdie here hanging out, as always. But yeah, doing good tonight, Jeff.
All right. Well, let's get us started with our main segment called Big News, Little Lars. That was interesting. So, I'm going to split to this screen here really quick. But first of all, we got some very big news. And I informed Mr. Luke about it over there. Yeah, you're over here, right?
I see you.
Hi, how's it going? Anyway, so we got some big news here, as in the last few weeks has been really, really weird. And first of all, of course, Blip.tv, which is the company that hosted our video, shut down. With that, we had to find a new place to find that. And of course, we found these guys, CashFly. And they came up and they said, hey, yeah, we'll host the show. That's no problem whatsoever. And come back and we'll put CashFly in there. And of course, tell them Geekazine sent you. You get 2 terabytes of free to test out with your podcast, with your video, to see how fast they download those shows. And like this show, it's going to download fast, super fast. Super flat fast, whether it's audio or video. So check it out over at clickcashfly.com. Remember, tell them Geekazine said hi, and go from there. But so they covered our iTunes and our RSS feed. However, we had a whole bunch of problems with YouTube, mainly because of the fact that YouTube doesn't want us to promote other companies because they want a cut on that. So I did some research, and Blip actually came back. Blip was actually bought by a company called Maker. Maker was then bought by Disney. So, what I'm trying to say is, we are now part of the Maker Max group, which means we're part of Disney.
Am I a Disney princess now?
No, I think you're one of the. We're both 2 of the dwarves.
Well, that's pretty cool.
I might be Doc. Who would you be? I don't want to say you're Dopey.
Yeah, probably Dopey or possibly Sleepy.
Sleepy?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of sleepy a lot.
Hi ho, it's Wearable Today we go.
Yeah.
And we're going but basically Maker Max, it's what's called an MCN, multi-channel partner network. So we're still on YouTube. We still have that home on YouTube, but hopefully things are going to change a little bit, and we'll be extended to other channels through the Maker side. Like, for instance, they have the Sling Box. I don't know if you know about this, but it's the ability to get a few cable channels over the internet through the app. I think you get like TBS and AMC for your Walking Dead people, TNT, USA Network is on there. And of course, they're growing as they do. But they do have a channel called the Maker Channel, and there's a very good possibility we've got to keep this. We've got to keep this in a nice hour format. But there's a good possibility we could be on one of those time blocks in the upcoming future. So these are the things that I weighed, the pros and the cons that I weighed before I got in here, because the reality is the payment structure is, whereas YouTube gives us a 60-40 cut on any advertisement, Maker Max takes 30% of the 60%. However, they'll come back and they'll give us more options and more channels to go on. So it actually helps cover the bills a little bit better if everything works out the way that it's supposed to work out. So fingers crossed, both Geekazine and... Fingers crossed, yes. Both Geekazine...
I'll just keep them crossed here.
Okay. Both Geekazine and Wearable Today are both part of the Maker Max network. So you'll see a lot more cool stuff on Geekazine and more of the, hey, we're looking for somebody to do a review of this and that. We're going to do... The show's not going to change too much. However, we'll get some opportunities to bring in some other content that we wouldn't have if we were just a YouTube channel. So, for instance, maybe some questionable copyright material that they've already cleared through. We could then put it up, and we have somebody kind of holding our back on this. So that's that. So we've got Cashfly that's helping us with the iTunes distribution. We've got MakerMax that's helping us with the YouTube distribution. And now we've got more. So, Luke, what do you think of being a Disney character now?
I think it's pretty good. I think it's a good fit. Yeah, sounds good. As long as we keep doing the show, I'm happy. So, it sounds good. And you're obviously much deeper in all the podcasting stuff than I am. So,
yeah, that's true.
if you're happy about it, I'm happy about it.
Oh, thank you. I think this is a good fit for us, especially. And we're going to talk about South by Southwest a little bit later in the show. And we've got a panel coming up, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But we want to get into the news here because that's what you're here for, and that's those. Remember those big news, little arms.
Rawr.
I did it again. So, anyway, why don't you go ahead and give us a start there?
Sure. First up, we've talked a lot about wearables that track your heart rate, your step count, and other forms of activity. But what about your breathing habits? That's right. Researchers at North Carolina State University are developing systems that could potentially monitor someone's breathing throughout the day, and then that data could be analyzed later by doctors to diagnose lung conditions well before they would otherwise. Basically, they're going to be monitoring this stuff a lot sooner and a lot more easily because it's a ongoing monitoring as opposed to just when you're in the lab.
Laters.
Yeah, laters.
Yeah, definitely.
Laters, they'll be monitoring it.
Okay. All right, let's move on. I'm waiting until I make a mistake. You can read me down on that. So there's a lot of heart rate monitors and breathing monitors out there. That's what you talked about, right?
Yeah, well, that one didn't exist. That was still research.
Oh, okay. But there are a lot of heart rate monitors and breathing monitors out there. But how about one built into a shirt? Ralph Lauren has one shipping next week for the low price. Low price. It's a beautiful low price. $200. No, not $1,000. Not $500. But $295. The Polo Tech shirt has wires.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. It's very amazing. I can't believe it. It's beautiful. The Polo Tech shirt has wires woven into the fabric. It sends signals to a little black box that pairs with your iPhone to show you live biometrics and provide adaptive workouts. I need that for my new workout pattern that I've been doing, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. No word on when the Android version of the app will be available. You really had to put the Android... What about the Windows version? We need a Windows version too, right?
I don't know. If either of those Windows guys buy this shirt, maybe they will... Is that too harsh?
I don't know. Is it too harsh? I don't care.
They haven't mentioned any other platforms coming as far as that. So not just Android, but yeah,
okay.
No word on Windows or BlackBerry or any of the other stuff.
Cool.
So USB battery chargers are becoming ever more common, but it's still easy to leave the house and forget to grab it. Not anymore with a new battery charger that comes in the form of a belt for some reason. That's right, for only $70, you can have a convenient charger for anything in your pockets, and you can easily recharge your belt while sitting at your desk at work. Just look for the Powered Belt Buckle by Powered Gadgets.
You know, Howard Wolowitz would be happy about that belt buckle right there. I would think.
I have no idea what that's a reference to.
You don't watch The Big Bang Theory?
No, I do not.
Cray.
I've seen some of it, but I do not know the...
That's cray. You should
start
watching some Big Bang Theory. I'm just telling you. If you're not a true geek till you watch The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah. But
you're going, yeah, whatever. Yeah, sure, okay.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big geek already, so I don't know if I need to watch that show to prove it. But yeah, it's actually a really neat idea because I always just this past weekend or a couple weeks ago, I was out and I forgot a battery charger, and I was like, that would have been handy to have because I wouldn't have forgotten it that way.
Oh yeah. So, but anyway, Big Bang Theory, Miam Bialik, hello.
Yeah, it's got that going for it. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
She just started a thing called Grok. Was it GrokNation.com?
Mm-hmm.
And amazing. So go over to GrokNation.com, check it out. But definitely geeky. And go.
Oh yeah.
So,
Anyway,
let's move on here.
Anyway,
because I'm already taking us off the track here. So, everybody dreams of better battery life for their wearables, but some people are trying to make eternal battery life happen through the use of body-powered wearables. In fact, we're going to talk a little bit about this on the Apple Watch in a little bit. Wearable.com is looking at several different approaches that are being used to find this holy grail of wearables. And while none of the solutions are practical just yet, we may see something along the lines show up in retailers within the next few years. Like I said, you can go over to wearable.com to check that out. Finally,
that's wearable, W-A-R-E. Like we talk about them a lot, but it's not spelled the same way as our show is spelled. So I think that could
they're across the pond. They talk about wearables in different.
Maybe that's how they spell it. I don't know.
It's possible.
Like I think it's a pun, but I'm not 100% sure.
I don't know. So anyway, it's possible. It's wearable. So
it's wearable.
Finally, go over to wearabletoday.com. That's the correct spelling of wearabletoday.com, and check out Marco's newest post on Apple Watch's killer features for home control. Of course, he did last week, or 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Oh, I never finished the whole story, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But a few weeks ago, he did a story on the home connection kit that he put together, and now there's some more apps out there for the Apple Watch to connect. It's actually making me start thinking, well, maybe I need to get myself a Nest. Maybe I need to get myself some of these home automation things so I don't have to worry about, because the biggest thing is, it's not hot right now, but I don't like to run the air conditioning when I'm not here. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I'd love to have it so I could just pull up my phone or pull up my watch or whatever. Excuse me. And especially if I leave and it's like, oh, I forgot to turn off the air conditioning, I can just go boop and it's off, and not have to come back in the house and do that. So that's what I'm looking for. And of course, this article is going to talk a little bit more about the home connected control, and that's over at wearabletoday.com. You can check it out there. So, all right. Oh. Did you have anything to say on that or no?
Oh no, I can agree. Like, it is very nice to be able to turn on and off your AC when you're not at home, so that you can save that power, because it's one of the biggest expenses, especially in Texas where people run the AC pretty much nonstop. Yeah. So if you can turn it off for a few hours a day, it is a huge savings.
Yeah, definitely. Or when I'm on travel, it's like if all of a sudden a cold snap comes on, and I'd be able to turn on the heat, turn off the heat, turn on the cold. So.
Yep.
And that happens about this time in Wisconsin. It gets cold and then it gets hot all of a sudden. So
yeah, and it's hard to adapt to that.
Exactly. So, All right, well, let's move on. Let's get into our segment we call the Apple Watch Watch. No ticks? There we go.
I got it.
You got it? Okay. I suppose I should have things queued up myself. So, Swatch. I love Swatch. I had it in 8th grade, 6th grade, whatever the grade was, 30, 40 years ago. Man, I'm old. But anyway, Swatch CEO Nick Hayek Jr. Called Apple Watch an interesting toy. That's an interesting toy that sold over 2.5 million by June. Now, Hayek stated that the watch was basically useless after 24 hours unless you plug it in, which makes a little bit of sense. Further, he didn't really want his heart rate or his vitals all in the cloud. That may be all well and good, but Apple could actually develop ideas around things like the 24-hour suck period. Could an Apple Watch go into full power mode when it just tells the time and just works like a regular watch battery, like a CR2025 or Energizer 357 watch battery? Could a solar cell be added into the Apple Watch so you could eventually power it up to do everything you need, but it just powers enough to be able to tell the time and maybe get a couple tweets or something like that through your phone or through your device? Swatch itself moved away from smartwatches in the 2000s. Now, that could be compared to Apple moving away from PDAs after Newton simply because it just wasn't time. Now, keep in mind, Apple came back and stole the PDA market with the iPhone. So, when somebody makes a bold statement like this, it always kind of says, okay, either you're trying to hide something or you seriously don't think that this is important for your company to look at. And Swatch, being a watch company, needs to start looking at the ability to connect it to a phone. It doesn't have to do the full screen. It can still be a watch. But, something like with a little LCD in there that can tell you tweets or something like that, something that gives you a little bit more. And I seriously think that if they're avoiding this market, that they shouldn't. They need to turn around and start thinking about that. What are your thoughts on this, Luke?
Yeah, I think you're right there. I don't think it's a good time to come out and be like, smartwatches are dumb. Oh yeah, we're a watch company. Like, why
exactly
would you say something like that? It's like, don't you make watches? Because it's like, I understand that maybe he just thinks they're dumb, and it's like, well, our watches are good and smartwatches are not good, but it's like there's like, it may not be the perfect time for smartwatches, but it feels like they have gotten enough traction now that they're probably not going to just disappear.
Yeah.
They may not expand a whole lot more, and it may be everybody who wants one has one, but I think there's still a lot of room for innovation. I don't think that there is one that is just clearly the best one. I think that they're all competing and they all have interesting features, and they're all trying to add in stuff to one up each other, and that's a really interesting time to be in the market. But I don't think that it's like, if anything, Swatch should try to come out with a version of what they think a really good smartwatch is.
Yeah.
Whether that's, something like you're kind of alluding to, maybe like almost like Pebble does with kind of an e-ink display, so it's much lower power draw, so it can last longer. You don't have to charge it every night. It just seems like, it's one thing to say other ideas are bad, but maybe they're hiding something. Maybe they are working on something, and he's trying to kind of see if there are people out there that would agree with him that, like, hey, what they're doing isn't so great. They need to work on battery life, and we've got this idea, but I'm not going to talk about that of a weak battery life like Pebble or some of those other smartwatches. So it seems really odd to me for him to be coming out as critical of a market that they could still own. Like, there's not a clear winner at this point.
Yeah, definitely. And they even talk about, not only do they talk about Apple Watch, they also talk about what's going on at Tag Heuer, because Tag Heuer apparently is working on a partnership with Google and Intel to make a smartwatch. So it'll be interesting to see how they come forward with, and if there's a way to actually advance it. I'm surprised that Jeff Bezos and Amazon hasn't come out with a paperwhite watch. And just basic, like I have the basic $50 Kindle in the other room, and I don't think I've charged that thing in like 4 or 5 months. But that thing still has a front screen that says, "Hey, your battery is low." And if you could put that just into a small screen and put a watch around it, if it's not charged, maybe it's just telling you the time at that point in time. And you charge it up, and then you can do other things like read books or, I don't know, get tweets and stuff like, pair the Fire phone, pair the Fire HD or whatever to this watch. So I think we still haven't even touched where we're actually going to go with watches and the ability to actually use them. And like I said, solar cells on watches are a possibility. You could even do a hybrid watch if you want that Swiss timepiece where you have the gears inside and you want the smartwatch ability. I think somebody's going to come out with that very soon. We'll see what happens though. So.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts on that?
Nope. I think it's a ripe market for innovation, and so hopefully he's being critical to kind of tease something that they're working on, as opposed to just criticizing a market that they should probably be doing something in. Exactly.
So, all right. Well, that does it for this big news. Little R's. All right. Well, I told you there's going to be some news. We've talked a little bit about it. Blip.tv closed down. We're now part of MakerMax. We've now got CashFly. But what happened last week? We didn't have a show. The week before, we had a show. But around this time, 2 weeks ago, the website just started acting wonky. And that, of course, I have Wearable Today on the website. I have Geekazine on there, Day in Tech History, and a few other websites. But it's through an unlimited hosting plan, through a company that you might know. It starts with a G and has a D in it. And who's your GoDaddy? I don't know. Anyway, so the whole point is that for the next 72 hours, Wearable Today and all the other properties on Geekazine went into a major meltdown. And the websites would come up, but then after about 3-4 minutes, you'd get nothing but 500 and 503 errors.
Yeah.
And I've had this in the past with GoDaddy. And I started with GoDaddy when they kept saying, 99.9% uptime. And they since got away from that because they couldn't promise it. And I should be getting money back for that because I never got promised. I never got that. But I kept going with them. First time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me. Third time, what the heck was I thinking? Fourth time, man, I'm stupid. Fifth time was enough. What really got me was the fact that, when I went to GoDaddy, and I'm saying this right now, and right now Wearable Today is still on the GoDaddy server. But I called GoDaddy, and you get hit or miss on the support. And everything okay?
Yeah, are we still up? Like they might be saying, "Oh, take them down."
Oh, no, okay.
I feel like is the website up?
No, they're not going to take us down. But anyway, the whole point is that what happened was I called support, and instead of them saying, "Let's figure out a problem," let's figure out what, because I knew the exact reason why. In hosting in GoDaddy, you have the host. And then on separate servers, they put the database. So there's this extra connection that has to go back and forth between the database and the host. If they were to put the database on the same server as the host, things would be a lot different. They don't do that. And what was happening was there were connection timeouts between the host and the database. And I was showing them the data saying, there is a connection timeout. I was showing them the log saying, connection timeout between the MySQL database and the host. And they basically said, no, everything's up and running. It's not our problem. Those 4 words were just basically the end of it. I do not like it when somebody says, it's not my problem. So many times I get that from GoDaddy. And I was like, this is just BS. I can say that, right? Yeah, that's a good acronym. And so I started moving everything from GoDaddy to a new hosting server. And I'm not going to talk about the new hosting server just yet. We'll talk about it down the road if everything starts to work. Geekazine is now on the new hosting server. My separate instances of each website is on there. Wearable Today is part of a network of 5 different websites, and I got to be very careful when I move it over, so I got to take my time on that. So that's why it's not over there just yet. But that, and even today, it goes and it does it every now and then it errors out. So, but it's not as bad as it was 2 weeks ago because they probably fixed the problem. So that's basically what happened. We didn't have a show last week because of it. And I got a little bug flying around here. We didn't do the show because of it. And I actually got way behind on all my work because of it. Because, next week I'm going to San Francisco to do some live streaming for a third-party company and our client. And I had to get that ready. And I didn't do any of my stuff. And I lost out on some major videos that I still need to work on. And it really, really, really pissed me off. And so that's what happened in the last week, why we didn't have a show last week and stuff like that. So Luke, how was your 2 weeks? You had some fun this last week, didn't you?
Oh yeah. It was actually a really good, a couple of weeks and weekend for me. Yeah. Been a lot of fun. I don't have a lot of pictures yet, but I've got a few over on my Google Plus page of a couple of things that I did. One was a Star Wars activity where I went to the Texas Rangers game, and me and about 20 other people all dressed up as Star Wars characters because they had their Star Wars night. Tons of fun. And dressed up, made a bunch of kids really excited to see Star Wars characters. And a lot of adults love it, I think, just as much as kids do.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. And then had some celebrations in the past week because my birthday was during last week.
Wait, what?
And
wait,
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Your birthday was last week?
Yeah.
How come I didn't know about this? Happy birthday! Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What a horrible host I am.
It's okay.
Happy birthday. So what? You're 21 now?
Yeah. Fully of age.
Okay.
No, much older than that actually.
22.
But it was good. Yeah. So it was a lot of fun, and one of the things that I kind of did. Or that I did for my birthday was go to a Weird Al concert. I think every kid is a Weird Al fan once they find out about Weird Al, and some people just never grow out of that phase. But I went to the show, never been to a Weird Al show before, and so it was a ton of fun and a really good show, very entertaining. Lots of big hits if you were a fan. Like he did a lot of songs you would know, a lot of old stuff as well, not just stuff off the new album. So really good show. I
read a news article about the 501 Legion. Is that you guys?
501st. That is the officially those are the bad guys of the Star Wars group, and the good guys are called the Rebel Legion. But it's pretty much all the same group, just with that delineation between bad guys and good guys.
Because there was an article about how the 501 group Legion helped some little girl. I think her name was Lucy. I'm not 100% on that.
Yes, I forget the name, but yeah.
And there was a picture of Weird Al and the little girl there in that. And I was wondering if that was you guys.
So that's the same group that wasn't at a Dallas show where I'm at. But that was the same group. that basically said, hey, we're doing the Weird Al show because he knows the group and he brings them in because he has a couple of Star Wars songs. And so he contacts the 501st, or, you know, his managers do. He doesn't actually do that. And they organize bringing the group out. Yeah, there's a picture of me. It's actually really neat how he brings those groups out. And I'm guessing what they did is they said, hey, we've got a girl here. The story, as I understand it, is that she was kind of being made fun of as someone who likes Star Wars, because it's like, that's a boys thing. You're not, you know, haha, you like Star Wars, you know, like, and like, I don't know, kids are dumb and they make fun of other kids for dumb reasons.
Yeah.
And so, like, And anyway, so the 501st actually made her a custom small version of Stormtrooper armor, so she could actually like dress up and then go to places with them and be kind of this unofficial kids member. And they said, hey, we're doing a Weird Al show. How about we bring, you know, how about she come along? And so she came along, and Weird Al is super nice to the 501st. They are not paid to be there. They volunteer to show up. Yeah, there's the article. Layla.
Yeah, this is on the Huffington Post, but there's other articles out there.
Oh yeah. If you just search 501st Weird Al girl, like, you'll probably find it.
Yeah.
And basically, Weird Al is super nice to all the 501st members. He takes pictures with them. My Facebook feed, because I'm friends with all those guys, was blowing up on Saturday morning after the concert with all these pictures of Weird Al hanging out with the 501st guys.
That's cool.
You know, and so it was really neat. So they're like, hey, let's bring this girl along and give her a treat, you know, that like very few kids get to do. And so, so he took pictures with her just like he does all the other Star Wars guys. And, you know, I'm sure it was a thrill for her. But it just shows that, like, you know, these are their tagline. The 501st tagline is "Bad Guys Doing Good," and so, you know, they're always raising money for charity and for kids charities, especially cancer research, all that good stuff. And the Weird Al concert stuff is kind of just more of a fun time. But they found a way to even do something good with that. Of be like, hey, let's show this girl that, you know, being a Star Wars fan can actually be kind of cool sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, there is nothing uncool about being a Star Wars fan. Simple
yeah.
So,
and there's no reason that it's a boys thing or a girls thing. Like everybody loves Star Wars. So.
Yeah, it'd be like saying Weird Al is a boys thing or a girl.
Yeah, and exactly.
You know, Weird Al is just as, and you're right, he's very approachable. I remember I met him. I worked at a local theater here in Madison, and I met him in 1992 or 93 when he came through, and just an awesome guy, you know. Had time to talk with him, and after the show, and just an amazing show, and he still does exactly what he did back then. Of course, adding the new stuff to it.
Oh yeah,
just amazing stuff. I haven't seen him in a while, so it'd be nice to actually see one of those shows again. But it really, that's really awesome stuff, and makes, you know, warms the subcockles of my heart. So
yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad
that it warms the subcockles of my heart.
Yeah,
the subcockles of my heart. Okay.
yeah. But yeah, lots of fun. So that was a lot of my weekend, and just kind of doing all the standard birthday stuff. Definitely got some good grown up toys and kids toys. So it's fun.
You also worked on. You also worked on doing some chroming this week?
I have definitely been working on some processes for chroming some things for potentially a Halloween costume. So,
okay.
I actually just posted all the videos today of painting a 3D printed object to like make it look a lot less like a 3D printed object. To kind of finish it up. Okay. And I've got some more tutorials that probably won't go up until after Halloween about some chroming processes and some different things like that. But depending on how it goes, I might I'm actually going to be recording a lot of the stuff I'm doing, just so that people will be able to use it, and I'll remember. I'll be able to go back and watch the videos and be like, okay, that's how I did it. I forget. Like you do something once, and you're like, I think I figured it out the same way. But if you can watch a 5-minute video and be like, okay, good, I didn't forget anything, or oh wait, yes, it mentioned that thing, and I need to remember to do that. It'd be good.
I got a couple weeks ago. I got an email from Instructables.com, and they wanted me to be part of their network to talk a little bit more about the Instructables. So, which is really cool, because then I learn how to do different things. Because I kind of got away from the modding and the soldering thing. They had a soldering contest going on when they asked me to join up, and I've been looking at some of the Instructables there and using that for some possible future things. My big project is this right here. I got this off of Amazon. What this is a couple months back I bought a ukulele.
Ooh.
And I've incorporated it into my music stuff. But the only problem with the ukulele is it doesn't have an actual pickup in here. I've been using this piezo pickup. So I bought this off of Amazon, which is Joyo, basically a piezo pickup. But I got to cut into the guitar to do that.
Ooh.
And, I've been very cautious about this because, I don't want to bust the guitar doing it. So I've been looking at a lot of different videos, and a couple of them coming from Instructable, on how to carefully do this and do it right, because if once you make the cut, you can't go back.
Yeah.
And so I've been working on that. So I'm really excited about that. But those are my little projects, and I'm going to get into a lot more. So I'll be looking at that chroming video and see how I can chrome this whole studio.
Yeah, I definitely have a few projects in mind, and I think I'm going to like this whole video content creation. I think being on this show and some of your influence there is like, you know what? If I get some videos up there, this could be a good thing. It helps out other people, helps me remember. Yeah. And it's kind of neat little content, and there's not a whole lot of videos about this kind of stuff. Like even on YouTube, where it seems like there's videos for everything. So it's always neat, and it's different.
If you found a niche, then use it.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right, well, lots of cool stuff, and going from there, let's move on really quick, because we got a lot of other cool stuff happening.
Oh yeah.
First of all, I want to talk about this, because this is the big one right here. We put together an awesome show, but you won't get to see it until March, if everything goes perfect. South by Southwest, every year at about this time, they start the panel picker. We submitted a panel on Wearable Today, which will then become an actual episode of Wearable Today in March of 2016. Now, we've got a great show for that. We've got myself. We got Luke, of course. And then Marco's going to be coming, and he will be showing off some 3D printed wearables that'll be part of that. And then, of course, our main guest, really excited about this, Mr. Shell Israel. And I think that's how you pronounce his name, Israel. And he worked with Robert Scoble on the Age of Context book. He's working on some other books, including a book that just came out, I think is coming out in the next month. And he's having some parties in September and October because of this book. And we're going to be talking about the state of wearables at that time. Of course, he'll be promoting the book as well and go from there. But here's what I need you guys to do. Go over to the panel picker. This is number 50503. If you can't remember that, I'll have the link in the show notes, of course. And I need you to cast your vote on this. We need to get, we're not doing too great on the votes. We need some more votes in here so we can be part of this show, because I think this is going to be a great show for South by Southwest. And of course, like I said, we'll have cameras set up, and we'll be capturing it, and then we'll be recording it for that following Monday's Wearable Today. And of course, South by Southwest, awesome weekend. and it would actually be my first session that I've ever been on. So I really, really am excited to try and get in here. And Luke, I know you've got another panel that you're working on as well. We'll have that in the show notes as well. But the big one, of course, is this one, Wearable Today, live from South by Southwest. If we can't get into a regular panel, we'll see if we can do this, because there's South by Southwest official stuff, and then there's unofficial stuff. Mm-hmm. I want to be official. I really do. So I'm going no matter what. I hope Luke, that you can come down and we can finally meet face to face. But we'll see what happens, and it's a great weekend.
Yeah, cool. Sounds like a lot of fun.
All right, cool. And then going from there, we just want to remind you about, I think this is the right one. There we go. Wearabletoday.com/deals. 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 If you're looking for a wearable device, such as a Moto 360, such as a Fitbit, such as the eardoves, or any of the products we talk about on the show, go over to wearabletoday.com/deals. It's an Amazon page, and there's refurbs. It's low price on wearables. And so go over to wearabletoday.com/deals. And then, of course, this is where I normally would say, well, also throw us $5 on the YouTube page. But with the fact that now we're with Maker Max, we had to turn off the crowdfunding part of that. And we're going to work on something, maybe a Patreon page or something like that, to get things going from there. So, I know we spent a little bit more time than we should have, but this is all important stuff, and I'm really happy that we're where we are right now. So,
yeah.
So anyway, you okay?
No, I'm good.
You good? Okay. All right. Let's get into the focus of this. Let me just go down here. Okay, there we go. Let's go here. Would you get an NFC chip embedded into your skin for your job? Would you? That is what employees at Epicenter co-working space in Stockholm are doing. 50 of the 250 employees have opted into the program already. The chip is implanted into the arm and can replace any key, card, or other device. Therefore, unless you leave your hand at home, you can pretty much get into the building. Keep in mind, though, that what you put in, you end up having to take out at the end of the day. And this is part of a bigger article where they talk about different ways that wearables creep in the workplace, but this is kind of the creepy way that wearables come into the workplace, because, this picture right here, this guy's just sitting there while it's a person that does piercing puts the RFID chip into his hand. And he's like, I'm happy that I'm doing this. So, what are your thoughts on this, Luke? Would you, if Bottle Rocket all of a sudden said, hey, put in we got these RFID chips, you want to put one in your arm, would you do it?
No, I don't think so. It's like, I don't think I want something like that permanent or that has to be removed later. Not a big fan. So I like the idea of a badge that I can wear and, hang on my belt or hang on my pants or something, carry with me, put in my pocket, hang from a lanyard. Like, I'm fine with something like that. Something embedded, although much more secure, because I suppose someone could grab my badge and run off with it, and it'd be hard to take it from me. But I know there are people that have left their badge at their desk. Sometimes maybe they don't have a belt loop or something, and so they set it at their desk, and someone could come along and grab it.
There's been a couple times when I've actually had I put my badge, I take it off my belt and put it on the desk for some reason, and then I leave, and then it's like, I can't get back in, so I have to find somebody to do that. So
I totally understand how it's more convenient because you can't forget it, but I don't know, it just seems weird to have something actually embedded under your skin. Even if it could just use my watch or tie it to my phone or something like that, where you could kind of have some, authentication mechanism to it. Agreed. Of like, hey, if you unlock your phone, now you can use it to unlock the door or something like that, so that there's more than, there's more authentication than a badge has, which is just if you hold the badge, you are now the person, basically. With a phone, you have to at least unlock it or do some sort of PIN code to activate that ability. And so it's a little more secure, but having something embedded under your skin, it does make you wonder, like, well, then someone might actually, like, if it was, it's something that you see more in movies than anything else, but like if somebody really wanted, it's like, yeah, they might cut your hand off and then go use your hand to get in the building, because they're like, well, if we take his hand, we can get in there. And if they,
yeah, that does bring up a good point. What about fingerprints and palm prints and stuff, eye retinas and stuff like that? Do you really need to put an RFID chip in there? Because I think that this would be more of a, okay, now we can not only let them get into and out of secure areas, but we can track their every movements. So if they're not in an area, even though they're not opening doors, if they're in an area that they're not supposed to be, we know from there.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger issue of just like, where could they track me that I don't know that they're tracking me? Because they could pretty much always track me. Like right now, if I take my badge off, it's like, well, I know they can't track me anymore. So yeah, having something that you cannot remove is a little bit of a it makes me wary a little bit. I'm sure it could become a normal thing, but it's gonna be a while. I'd much rather have something that I could wear as a watch strap. Like, hey, you can replace your watch band with this one that has an RFID in it, so you pretty much did, as long as you always wear that watch to work. Things like that. Like, I'd rather have something that maybe felt more natural than a watch, or than a badge hanging on you, or was a little more subtle. But yeah, I don't know if I'd want to go something to embed it in there.
How about this idea? Let's say I'm your boss, and I said, I'm going to do this RFID thing. Plug it into your hand. Now, if you get this plugged into your arm, after 3 months, we're going to review your progress, and we're going to say, hey, we'll give you a 20% raise after 3 months, because now I can track you, and I know you're being productive, or I know you're over at the water cooler at 90% of the time, and I can make those corrections. If you were promised a substantial raise after a period of time because you had RFID embedded into your arm or something like that, would you do it?
Ooh, that's a much harder question. I want to think that I would still say no, but it becomes like, well, how hard is it to remove if I want to remove it someday? It leads to a lot of questions of like, so what about tracking me outside of work? What are the precautions there? Or maybe I could get some sort of glove that I could wear over my hand that would block the RFID, kind of like the wallets for your passport that see all over the place now. Like, oh yeah, put it in there, and then that way no one can read the RFIDs until you take it out.
Yeah.
So it's like, ooh, maybe then I would just have to wear a glove if I wanted to make sure they weren't tracking me.
I suppose, yeah.
Well, why don't you put it in my head, and then I can just wear a tinfoil hat? That seems like that would be easier.
There are tinfoil hats already, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, otherwise they can scan your brain.
Oh yeah.
Obviously. So, I mean, it becomes an interesting question. It's kind of like the car trackers for your insurance. Like, I've seen those little insurance things. They're like, hey, plug this into your OBD2 port, and we'll give you a discount on your insurance, because then we know that, like, you're not driving fast, you're not, whatever. Like, we have data to prove it.
Yeah.
It's like, it becomes a much more interesting question. So, I still think I would probably say no, but if it was like you never know at what point it's like, well, pretty much it's now not a bonus. It's just like we're going to dock your pay if you don't do it. That kind of stuff. Like if it became prevalent, which would take decades probably for it to be that, but it could get to a point like where you do that. So
I don't know. Well, first of all,
it's an interesting question though.
Yeah, definitely. First of all, this article's from Stockholm, so it's in Germany. Second of all, they're using a piercing specialist, which means that they put earrings. I don't know what a piercing specialist is, but it's a piercing
teenager at the Claire's at the mall.
I don't know. It is just fun. And the guy, if you look at the picture, if you look at his ears, he's got those loops in his ears. So it's not like he's a I'm not. We'll leave it at that. The whole point is it's not a doctor. It's not a nurse. It's a piercing specialist that's putting this RFID chip. Third, I would do it. I'd do it in a heartbeat. In fact,
really?
I'll throw this out there. Anybody watching, anybody listening, you work for a company, you want me to have an RFID chip put into me for 1 year to track me, I'll do it. Because I think it'd be interesting to see how I progress in the next 365 days. If this chip motivates me to progress in the next 365 days, and what they can gather from this chip in the next 365 days. My only stipulation is, whatever you monitor, I get to be part of. So if you monitor my vitals or something, which I don't think you can do with an RFID, of course, but if you monitor where I am, you give me a report of where I am. If I want to see what you see. I don't want to be hidden behind there. If anybody's in a company, a startup company or something like that wants to do that, Jeff at wearabletoday.com, Jeff at geekazine@gmail.com. So, and speaking which, I got to make sure that our email addresses are forwarding right from the website. But anybody that wants to do that, I am all for being part of it and kind of being an evangelist on that. I don't. We're getting tracked anyway. We get tracked from our phones. We get tracked in most places, and I post a lot of stuff. I'm doing a new campaign called 1 pound a week #, where I've been going to the gym, and the idea is in the next 52 weeks I'll lose 52 pounds, and because 52 pounds, I'm at 252 right now. So that means that in a year I'll be at 200 pounds. And that's the idea, 1 pound a week. So, I'm online all the time. I know there's a lot of people that aren't online, and that's all well and good. But I would just to do it and see what happens. So, if you're out
that
there,
raises a interesting question as far as so if I have access to the data, and I'm not saying I'm against necessarily all implantable wearables. It's more of like, you're employed or something. But you bring up an interesting point with the health vitals and monitoring. Let's say that there was an implantable that could do some of that and could either track activity or maybe you talk about cholesterol or glucose, whatever some of those vitals are. Some implantable wearable that could monitor that and relay information. That's a lot more interesting to me, and that's something that I would pay for. Would not be forced upon me, but something that I would actually go and seek out. So
I'll take it a step further. Anybody wants to implant, as long as the device is not going to hurt me, whatever tracker you want implanted in me, you will have to look at contracts and talk to lawyers and all that other good stuff. But if it all works out and I have full access to whatever collect, I'm all for it, and I'll do it as a trial or something like that. So, and I know there's got to be somebody out there that's trying this stuff, either on themselves or in over in San Francisco or something like that. But I want to be part of that. It'd be kind of cool to see what happens to me if I'm riding high on on my blood pressure in the morning and low on in the evening, I want to know about it.
Implantablestoday.com, you know.
There's probably somebody already has Implantable Today.
Yeah.
We got Wearable Today. That's the important thing. So
the ones that you wear inside.
So, but we do we'll do a regular segment on the show. I have no problem with that. And go from there. I'll be your guinea pig. Let me be your guiney pig. So I know Luke can't.
This guy over there
can't promise that, but I'll promise.
Yeah, maybe. I definitely want to hear about this, but talk to the guy to my right, and I'm
gonna mess you up by next week switching our frames because it's actually better for me because you're right here technically. When
I can turn like this pretty easily. That'd be good.
I'll switch that.
Maybe we should switch sides. Yeah.
We'll do that. So, all right. Well, interesting stuff, and of course the article that we've mentioned. They go through a couple other articles about different types of wearables. Like for instance, BP distributed more than 2,500 Fitbit trackers. The truck drivers at Rio Tinto's coal mines. Have been using a device called the Smart Cap, which is basically a little trucker cap with technology put in, so they can track that and go from there. So it's a very cool read. So check that out. But I really wanted to focus on, and we tried to focus on it 2 weeks ago, but then the alphabet got in the way.
Yeah,
I hate it when the alphabet gets in the way. You know, I can't get past C. C is for cookie, and I'm like,
B.
Cookie?
That's good enough for me, man.
Exactly.
It's good enough for me.
So. All right. Well, Luke, where can they get a hold of you?
You can get a hold of me all over the place. You can find me on Google Plus at google.com/plus Luke Wallace. Luke Wallace is spelled down here for you. And you can find me on Twitter, if you look just below that down there, if you're watching the video, at Luke Luca. Tweet me, send us your comments. We'd love to, read some mean tweets or sad tweets or nice tweets next week on the show.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Hashtag Wear Today? Or Wearable Today?
Wear Today. Okay. I thought Wearable Today was a little bit long. If you want to use Wearable Today, that's fine.
We'll look for all,
but
or just send it directly. That's a good way to just hat tip to us if you've got questions or ideas or want to implant something in us. Just let us know. But or you can email me for this show, luke@wearabletoday.com.
Cool. As for schedule plan notes, I will in San Francisco next week at VMworld. As Geekazine, and also because I will be doing some live streaming. You won't see me on the live stream. I will be behind the systems. In fact, I've got all this cool gear. I just bought this one right here. This is the Atmos Ninja 2. Basically you put in the HDMI cable and then you record everything in ProRes right here. That's pretty sweet. And then of course I've got all the switchers and everything like that. I'm getting all the technology put together. We're going to do a stream. It's going to be on live stream. Just watch my Twitter over at Geekazine, and I'll tweet out when I'm doing the live stream. Of course, it's with a client, so I can't talk too much about it at this point in time. But we will definitely be live streaming on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and of course that'll be actually up until this time when we start the show. So we're not going to do a show next week. We will be back in 2 weeks, and hopefully I'll have some of this even more incorporated into our system. So we can do a lot more, because I can do 8 cameras on this little black magic box that's in front of me that you can't see. And of course doing the recording off this thing will make the quality even better, and I'm all for better quality of anything. So, but that does it for this episode of Wearable Today. My name is Jeffrey Powers. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening. You can check out, go over to iTunes, subscribe there. Go over to YouTube, subscribe there. youtube.com/thisweekin Google Glass, I believe, but I'm going to work with Maker Max to try and get that changed to Wearable Today or something very close on that. So until then, you guys geek out. Of course, go over to plus.google.com/Wearable Today. Plus Wearable Today. That's correct, and go from there. So anyway, you guys geek out, and thanks a lot to my good friend, Mr. Luke Wallace, for being part of the show every single week. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you. We thank you for coming to the show. Thanks a lot for watching. You have been watching Wearable Today over at wearabletoday.com. You guys take care, and we'll see you next time. You were waiting for that, weren't you?